but now I've forgotten. Bluetooth, yes. You
Yeah.
said that Bluetooth was getting updated when? I guess that just comes with when your phone.
Yeah.
My phone and my computer, especially, my computer is always sending these little boxes that say, "Aren't you, are you gonna update me?"
Hmm.
And I don't know when to or why to sometimes, and I just want to put it off, and so I keep saying like, "Ask me later," and that goes on for months, and I don't know.
So updating your device is important because a lot of times it comes with security updates,
Mm.
and it will update your phone's cache of like Google and Microsoft and Apple. They're all the time finding all of the latest viruses and potential threats to your computer. And so this antivirus on your phone and on your computer and things like that, they don't know what to look for until they're told what to look for. And your updates, when they say it's a security update, it's essentially telling your phone all the new things that it's found. It's like the
The
wanted list.
antibodies.
Yeah, it's like a wanted list of
Okay, it's like these.
potential
Yep.
threats. And so oftentimes security updates have that thing. Then just general updates that might have more like efficient processing, like especially if you own a graphics card, you'll know that your graphics card constantly has updates all the time to
I think I own a graphics card and I don't know this. I don't know that ownership is prerequisite to being able to run this technology. Don't make such assumptions. What are you talking about? What do you mean I need updates for my graphics card? Like,
so the graphics card is the easiest one because it's the most obvious. But
okay.
like just like your phone, computer
You'll notice if the
processor,
graphics card's not working. Okay, yeah.
just
That's
like your computer processor is like it has updates to make it more efficient and things like that. Those oftentimes comes in updates and Windows updates and things, or Mac updates. But the graphics card is the most obvious because games that come out won't run efficiently on a newer your graphics card until you update them so that they're optimized for that game, so that graphics card knows the game itself and understands the settings to it and things like that. So oftentimes the game companies will give the game to the graphics card people months ahead of time so that they can look at the game, they can see how it runs on their systems, and they can optimize the graphics card appropriately for the game to run on them. And then they ship out that update when the game is released or before the game's released so that the cards will run the game properly.
and so is that mostly like big games that have that kind of influence?
Generally, big games do are the ones that do hit, but there's almost a big game that comes out every second Thursday. So
Like the highly anticipated ones are
yeah,
from big companies, I guess. I
big
should.
companies, yeah, usually the highly anticipated.
Okay, so for a gamer, of course, a graphics card is pretty paramount, and the speed,
Hmm.
the RAM,
Uh,
rapid access memory. So is that the thing that you use a lot of in game, or what?
the graphics card and the RAM are both used. The RAM less so. Like it helps. It certainly helps. But actually, it depends on how well the game's coded. If a game's coded properly, there a lot. The CPU, the central processing unit, should be able to get help from the graphics card and the RAM modules that you have to make it be able to do everything it needs to properly. A lot of problems. There are problems with common bugs are what is a memory leak, where what will happen is for some reason the game code will constantly stack memory on the RAM to the point where eventually the RAM will slow down because it's getting all this kind of junk that it's not releasing, and and eventually what's supposed to only take up 2 gigabytes of RAM for the computer is taking up 4 gigabytes of RAM. and especially if you have like an 8 GB RAM computer, you're overloading your computer because it's already using the other 4 GB of RAM for the operating system itself. So it's using all 8 gigs of RAM when it's only supposed to be using 6. That's
So many more questions.
so that's what a memory, like that's essentially what a memory leak is doing. Is it's not offloading memory
Okay.
properly like it should, and it's just building up and building up. Processor, like if it's not coded properly for a processor, a processor has individual cores. What is it called? And then even then and each core has threads. And essentially what a game is supposed to do for the processor is tell it to separate all the data that it's getting to the different threads to ease up the load, instead of having one thread run the entire game, separate it out to make it even it out to make it easier on the processor. But if it's not coded correctly and it's only using one thread or one core of the processor, then it ends up taxing that thing and not using it efficiently.
Okay, so assuming games are made well enough,
Yeah.
Graphics, the CPU and the RAM, like those to all be fast and efficient for a smooth running. For someone that is more into researching, reading, writing, just like using basic word processors, the internet, or reading from books, things that way, do you really need to focus on anything, or what would you?
Generally, you would just want your RAM to be the biggest. Like, you want your processor to be good enough to run the computer at a level that you like it.
So, like, if you have, say, 12 or 30 tabs open in your browser, having a processor is what would make sure that those are all still going.
If you have 12 or 30 tabs, you would want RAM, because RAM is the one that's going to affect that. The processor itself, if you have a decent processor that'll run the system well enough, I kind of have like a bare minimum of an i5. You could Intel or whatever equivalent is. The like that generally will run a computer fine. And then if you are using lots of tabs, you'll want more RAM stacked up.
And then, so, okay.